Hey, what's up guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman here. Today we're back out behind my house bed fishing for big old red ears and bluegills with this month's lucky tackle box. That's the May box. I got on the mini ripper right here. Oh, I think it's the Z. Look at that. Look how pretty of a red ear that is. That's about a 9-incher right there, 8.5, 9-incher. I got a couple over 10 inches already. I'm bed fishing these things. So I'm going to give you some tips along the way on how to catch these and how to use the lures in your box today. All right, so let's crack this bad boy open. Let's see what we got inside. Oh! Boom. Let's see. Fishing Physics grubs, Lucky Strike grubs, Z-Man swimbaits, some lip rippers, mini rippers, some mustad hooks. Let's get started off with our mustad hooks. Size 10 mustad treble hooks. These guys right here are always useful. There's always some little crankbait in regards to pan fishing, and if you're not used to replacing your hook so often, you need to. A simple rule of thumb, if you put your hook point on the tip of your fingernail and tilt it, if your hook slides off, it's too dull. You can either sharpen it or replace it at that point. In the hook point like this, put it on the edge of your fingernail. If it slides down, it's too dull. If it sticks there, it's perfectly sharp. But I would say, you know, if you're probably going out fishing on a particular bait and you're catching 15, 20 fish each time you go out and you're going out twice a month over a season, maybe a year on that bait, you might want to replace your hooks. Or if you're fine, you're getting hung in timber every so often, replace your hooks. But it's always good to carry extra hooks. I've ran into that scenario quite a few times. Mustad makes some great hooks, guys, so those are awesome. Wind blew me up. Ooh. Here we go. Good fish though. That's a hybrid bluegill slash red ear. There's no red right here, but a big gill plate. You can still see he's got a lot of turquoise in him, like the bluegill do. These hybrids also get really big, but not nearly as big as a pure breed shellcracker, and the shellcracker's just the red ear. What do we have here? Chasing trophy fish, as real as it gets. A minnow, a diving minnow right here. Let's see how deep it says we can get here. I don't see the depth on the back. The one I was running was getting down probably about 8 feet deep. Let's check this thing out. Let's crack her open. Let's see if I can get in this thing. There we go. It's a nice size bait. Looks to be about 3.5 inches long. Good size right there. I don't think you're going to catch bluegills or red ear with this, but you can catch crappie and trout and definitely bass. I was getting a lot of bass on these. Looks kind of like a shad, kind of like a pond smelt. So at the same time, you know, those are everything that eats those via crappie, bass, trout are also going to eat that bait right there. It's longer. It has a thinner bill. If the lip was wider, the bait would displace wider, but it's narrow, so it's going to have a nice tight shimmy. So that means it'll also work good in cold water. So around ice off or early spring or late fall, this is still a bait that could work substantially well for you. Cleaner water, a tighter wobble is also very useful. Nice shad finish in that one. Awesome bait right there, definitely going into my collection. Some mustad hooks, some more autism awareness hooks they threw in there. I went over that in the last month's box. Some Lucky Strike twin tail grubs. Twins, a tongue twister. These guys are always good like so. You just want to make sure you rig it straight to where your hook point comes up directly in the center, to where your legs are not cockeyed like so. They're perfectly level to where they can kick evenly. And I'll show you that. I'll throw that on a jig head in a second. Really good baits. Rick Klun backs this company. There's a ton of them in here. I'm not sure if you got the same ones as me. I know there's a variety of different ones that are going out. Now when you see the fish close to the boat like this, how I'm getting my rod closer, I don't want the line rubbing against the bottom of the boat or the trolling motor, so I got my foot off the trolling motor pedal. Oh, that's a nice one. That's a tank. Okay, I better get the net for this guy. That's a big dog. That's a big dog there. That is a gorilla. panda in the house, an absolute panda. The Lip Rippers Mini Rippers. These guys are cool. I already cut the corner of this bag open because I was out bed fishing big red ears earlier, and these are a great bedfish bait. If you look at that bad boy right there, little skinny guy, little ball appendage, 3 balls up there, a little tiny light jig head right there. I think it's the 16th. Yeah, no, even a little lighter than that, but great little setup. A bait like this can catch you bluegill, red ear, crappie, trout, you name it. If it's small, they're going to eat something like this. The chartreuse is great. Right now, we just got into May. This is the May box. When I get things that look chartreuse like that, when the algae's just starting to grow in the water, that's an absolutely great color, as well as their jig head being in red. Nice painted eye, clean little jig head. Perfect bait for casting it out there, letting it slow hop, letting it twitch, letting it fall to the bottom, hopping it up and letting it fall again. It's a very light bait. I'm going to probably be throwing this guy starting off at 2 or 4 pound line, and I probably would never fish it over 6 pound. Back to this guy on a jig head. I'm going to fish it maximal 8 for like trout or little bass, but I'll fish that down to probably about 4 pound tests on a jig head. And with our crankbait right here, I didn't mention the line. The lowest I'm probably going to fish this is on 6 pound line. It's a bigger bait. I'm looking for a little bit bigger fish. I want it to dive down there. It's got resistance on it. I would mostly use this for trolling or casting, so that 6 pounds is going to allow me to drive a little bit better of a hook set. And I want to use a moderate fast to fast action rod and something a little bit longer. When you're using crankbaits, you really don't jam it down super hard because you have treble hooks. You just kind of just do a sweeping, slow, heavy pull hook set, which is going to drive all those treble hooks for you. So a lot of the time when you're out bed fishing for panfish, a lot of people look and they see the fish spinning in circles. They're working. Chances are they're not going to bite anything you throw up there. When you just don't see a fully white developed bed or a fully clean circle, there is not any debris in their circle. When that bed's made, it is clean. When a fish is sitting there and you cast up to him, if he looks at your jig or makes a motion towards it at all, 100% catchable fish. If you cast up there, they move right away. You sit your jig there, they don't come back, they keep circling around, you're not going to catch them. That fish has spawning on its mind, it's not catchable. If you pitch up there and the fish holds still and doesn't move, a lot of the time that's also a very likely catchable fish. If you don't see that fully developed clean bed, but you see them circling around starting to develop one, you're not going to catch them. You can look for pre-spawn fish at the deepest spot right next to it, or a real thick grass ledge next to that area, and you can find fish moving up that still might feed for you. But it has to be a perfectly clean bed with a fish that shows any sort of attention to your lure. Spend time on that fish, you'll catch it. If they don't show any attention at all, they're not going to bite it whatsoever, so just move on to the next one. Pitch to each little white spot. If you see a fish turn at it and look at it, that's a catchable one. If they don't turn, cast to the next one. Cast to the next one until they give you a sign. We have the Fishing Physics #GeniusBaits grubs. Now this is interesting. They've had these in the Lucky Tackle box before. Now these are like it's a type of material that absorbs. It's like a different type of sponge plastic. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't create the bait, but it's soaked in their scent right here. Their minnow scent. If you let the bait dry out, it'll turn super hard. So you want to leave it draped over the side of your boat or wet at all times to keep that bait limber. And so it'll give some action for you. Now scent on a grub. Basically, I always tell people scent applies to the slower you're going, if you're dragging it or slow rolling. So a lighter jig head on a grub like that is probably going to be key, or even drop shotting a grub like this can be key, because you can kind of shake it in place to allow that scent to dissipate in the water and for them to come and find it. But it's always cool to have grubs, especially white grubs, depending on what color you got. I love grubs in every color. I fish them for trout, crappie, bass, red ears, you name it. Hold up here, right here. Right here, put your right hand up here. There you go, now reel.
Go, let's go, Go.
Tip up, there you go, reel. Here you go, Lila, scoop them. Scoop them, Lila. Scoop them, Lila. Scoop them, Lila. Yeah, lift up, lift up, Lila. You got him, guys. Get him, Lila.
Yeah, he's the biggest one.
sit down. Here, Lila. Now, a really cool one that they stuck in this month's box is the Z-Man Slim Swims. I was out trolling with my daughters and with my son and myself on the ultralight gear. I was fishing these on little 1/8 ounce jig heads and speed trolling them like at 3.5 miles an hour. You can cast them on any size jig head. They're really limber and the action's phenomenal. Very durable bait too. And if you look at these, it's just a little body to where if you have a painted jig head with an eye, just thread it up on there. Great action, super limber, and they are durable. These things hold up. I was probably catching 20 bass a piece on these. Perfect for crappie, perfect for red ear, any panfish, yellow perch, bass, trout, everything eats a minnow bait like this. And Z-Man did a heck of a job with these slim swims like this, guys. That's it for this month's box. If you're not subscribed to Lucky Tackle Box, you should be, luckytacklebox.com. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.